Hi, everyone, and welcome to the UCL Match Week 2 podcast. It's myself, FPLMattDay. I'm joined tonight by Quentin from the FPL Amateurs of Oz. So I had the podcast last night where I went through all of the fixtures, all the differentials and players to watch. But this one's going to be something a bit different. It's a team reveal. I'm playing my Limitless chip. Quentin's playing his Limitless chip as well for Match Week 2. We know how powerful this chip is. So we wanted to come on and do a live stream and go through our teams and go through our picks. If you are new to the stream, if you can just give the video a like, give the video a comment, get your questions in as well, because if we do have some questions, we'll answer them at the end, and we'll try and aim for about 20 likes on this stream tonight, and get the notifications on as well on the YouTube so you don't miss a video. But just before we get into my Limitless, because I will reveal mine first, I will introduce Quentin from the FPL Amateurs of Oz podcast. Unfortunately, he is in a Man United shirt. They're not in the Champions League this season. They're in the Europa League, but we will allow him to talk about the UEFA Champions League tonight. But Q, how are you going? Are you excited for your Limitless?
Yeah, mate. As I said to you, probably as soon as the game week ended, I sort of thought I might even do the Limitless. I might just wait closer, but then obviously with the Benzema injury, and then just some of the good fixtures coming up, I sort of thought, you know what, I'll just do it. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, it all goes to plan and I'm flying high after this round.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So what we'll do, we'll get straight into the team reveal. We'll just quickly say hello to FPLI's Stephen McDonald. Evening, lads. Get your teams up so I can copy you. Look, a bit of a disclaimer. If you don't do well based on my Limitless and Q's Limitless, you can't send us any hate mail. So just a little bit of a disclaimer there. But look, we will get straight into it. Let's. I'm going to screen share. Let's start with my team, shall we? Let's screen share.
I mean, if Steve does, go really good after watching our teams, I'll take all the credit. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If it goes wrong, we want nothing to do with it, mate.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And actually, just before we do start, let's I'll quickly explain the Limitless. So the Limitless, if you play Fantasy Premier League, it's basically the same thing. You can pick, have a complete free go at your team, basically like a free hit. But the difference between a free hit and a Limitless is there's no budget. So you can have whoever you like, still 3 players per club, but there's no transfer budget. So it's a very powerful chip. And like I mentioned on last night's pod, the reason you want to play it Match Week 2 this season is because Match Week 3 and 4 have really good fixtures. So they're both the same fixtures, but in reverse. And you can wild card in Match Week 3 and set your team up for 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then take advantage of this Limitless for Match Week 2. So anyway, enough of that. Let's share my team, and we will get into it. And give me your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you've got any of these players as well, and then we'll go to Quentin's team after, and we'll see if there's much difference between these sides. So here we go. Here's my team. So I'll start with the keeper, shall I? And then I'll go with the sub. So I've gone a 3-4-3. In goal, I've got Pau Lopez from Marseille. He was one of my differentials this week, 1% owned. He's got Frankfurt at home. Frankfurt are on really bad form at the moment. Lost 3-0 last week. Marseille got really tight defence at the moment. Haven't lost a game in the French league as well. Looked good against Spurs last week. If it wasn't for the red card, the game probably could have ended up 0-0 with the way the game was going. But he's my keeper. What do you think on that one, Q?
Yeah, I actually don't mind it, mate. I was looking at a similar move as well, so I might end up copying you. The night's still young, but yeah, I like it, mate.
Good to hear. So Pau Lopez in goal, and then I've doubled up with a Marseille defence. And look, I know double ups aren't always the best. Obviously, in this, even if you let goals in as a defender, you can get ball recoveries in UCL. But also the bonus is you can bring players off the bench. And I have got 2 defenders on my bench anyway, which obviously I'll talk about later on when I go through the subs. But I've got Klaus from Marseille. He's a left fullback, really good with the ball recoveries. He did lose one of his ball recovery points last week because he did get a booking. But again, I've doubled up there. I've gone for Marseille. I'm just thinking I'm going to play the fixture. And then if it doesn't work, I can make the subs. But yeah, what do you think on a defensive double up in the UCL? Do you think it's a bit safer than in FPL, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. Definitely with the ball recoveries, the extra points that you don't really get in FPL. So I think there is value in that, especially with good fixtures as well. So, I've thought about the similar thing this week, doing the double up, because there is value in those defensive assets more than just attack and returns, in my opinion.
Good stuff. All right. And the other two defenders, obviously, have gone a 3-4-3 to start with. I've got Denzel Dumfries from Inter. They've got the fixture against Pilsen away. He's a really attacking fullback. Ball recoveries as well. He has scored for Inter Milan this season as well. So he does love a goal. Just a quick comment from Steve McDonald. Interesting defense. He hopes I don't get Frankfurted. Look, I hope I don't as well. And you just never know. The Champions League is, it's an elite comp, and any team can obviously turn up on their day. And then ending my defense, I've got Ivan Perisic. I needed some Spurs coverage. I couldn't do a limitless and not have one Spurs player, being a Spurs fan. And I've gone with Perisic because English clubs have got a good record in Portugal. Spurs had a good rest on the weekend. He's basically like an attacking fullback, and he's got the chance for assists and even goals. So that's my defense. That's in the starting team anyway for the first night. Strong, do you think there's some clean sheets in there, Q? Do you think there's some ball recoveries, maybe some goals?
No, I really like it, actually. I've got Perisic as well in my side, so I'm pretty confident that we're going to be getting a clean sheet, and I actually think that he's going to get another attacking return. So it could be easily a double-digit haul for our boy Perisic, mate.
Oh, awesome. I hope so. And look, I missed out on Perisic last week. I ended up going Ben Davies, putting some money elsewhere, and it didn't work out. So I'm excited to own him this week. We'll go on to my midfield. And in midfield, I've gone with... we'll start with the players that are playing tonight. I've actually gone Mo Salah against Ajax, which is probably going to surprise a lot of people because he's not had the form. Liverpool haven't had the form. But I think this is going to be an open game. I said it on last night's podcast. Ajax like to play football. They play attacking football, and they'll bring the game to Liverpool, which Liverpool will want at the moment. They want a team that's going to come there and attack them. They don't want to be playing against a team that's going to park the bus, especially with the form they're in. So I'm going to go Salah. Liverpool have had a rest as well, which I think is going to suit them down to the ground because they needed a rest. They needed time on the training ground to get themselves together. So I've gone Mo Salah. He's in that midfield. What do you think on that one, Q? Do you think might surprise a few people, or do you think we'll get the Mo Salah of old?
No, I think this is going to be sort of his moment that he's going to come back out and show us why he's such a good asset. I said the last few weeks in FPL that it's a matter of time when these half chances go in, and then we're talking about we need to have him. And I think this is definitely an open fixture, and I could see goals in this fixture. And I think Mo Salah is going to put his foot down and show us why he's such an integral part of that attack. And I think there's going to be probably a minimum of 5 goals this game, and I think Salah's going to have his hand in most of them.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it with Salah. I think it's going to be a 3-2 sort of game. I don't know who's going to win, but I think it's going to be really, really open. And I just think, on a limitless, you've got to have him in there. Just a quick question. Are we confident of a Perisic start? Yeah, I'm confident. I think because there's been the rest for Spurs, no league game. I think he plays. He's been brought into Spurs for the experience, the European experience as well. So I think he starts. And the bonus is you can change your team all the way up until deadline. Spurs are the first team on. So if you're in Australia like me, you set your alarm and check the teams. Or if you're in the UK, obviously you don't need to really do that. But I'm pretty confident he is going to start. Just a quick one before I move on to the rest of my team. If you are new to the stream, I've seen a few people have just tuned in. Get your comments in, ask your questions. Let us know what you think of the Limitless. And if you can give the video a like, it's much appreciated. I'll move on to my next midfield. Just a quick comment. Ajax haven't lost all season, but I've gone Salah as well. So Salah's last run for me. Which I think is probably about fair. I think if you're on a Limitless, it's worth giving him one last go. So then my next midfielder there, you can see I've got a couple in this midfield, which they're very difficult to pronounce. I've gone with Sheved from Shakhtar, 17 points last week. He also scored on the weekend for Shakhtar. Home game against Celtic, but like I said on last night's pod, it's not technically a home game for Shakhtar because they're playing in Poland, obviously because of the what's going on in Ukraine. But I'm really liking him because of his chance to score big points. He's one of Shakhtar's main scorers now. And Celtic, dropping quality from the SPL to the Champions League is quite a big gap. And then just another midfielder, can't quite pronounce his name either. It's Kvartel Shahilia, I think it is.
Better than what I would have done, mate.
Yeah, better than what you would have done. It's tough to pronounce, but he is actually someone who's only about 5.5 million anyway. So he's actually would be a cheap player if I wasn't on the Limitless, but he's getting a number of goals and assists for Napoli. He's really making it tick in that midfield. Rangers, and I said this on last night's pod, a Rangers fan said to me, if I could bring in 11 Napoli players this week for UCL Fantasy, I would bring in 11 Napoli players. So that gives me a bit of confidence about putting him in my team. He does play on the left side of a front three. So we've got those two midfielders in there next to Salah. What do you think on those two, Q?
No, I really do like it. I think I spoke to you off air about looking at some of the Napoli players. I think I had the other midfielder, but yeah, it's strange because it could be quite an open game, and Rangers have just looked absolutely horrid lately. But it could be also a tricky game, playing over there. So yeah, but I rate it, and with the likes of Celtic as well. I think, as I said, I think Ange could try just play football. I don't think he's going to sort of sit back and park the bus. I think he's going to go out and play football, which will leave him vulnerable on the counter attack. And Shakhtar just showed how good they are on the counter. So
yeah, that's it. So Ange Postecoglou, he's managed here in Australia before. Now at Celtic, has them playing really good football, and like you said, they're going to attack. They're going to want the ball. They're going to leave lots of gaps for Shakhtar. We saw it last week, against Real Madrid. Obviously, Real Madrid are a top class side, but I think Shakhtar, good opportunity for them to get another 3 points. And then to round up my midfield, I've gone with Vinicius Junior from Real Madrid without Benzema on a Limitless. He's an absolute must-have. We saw how good he was in UCL Fantasy last week and also last season. And he has got Red Bull Leipzig at home. So that rounds up my midfield. I think he's pretty much a nailed-on pick, isn't he, Q, for a Limitless chip?
Yeah, exactly. And just how well RB played last week. You couldn't have paid me enough money to kick me out of my side.
Yeah, that's true, obviously, because they did lose 4-1 last week. He is my only Real Madrid player in this squad, which is a bit of a surprise. But I think he is the best pick. And I think with Leipzig, they like to play football and they attack. So I do think there is an opportunity for them to score a goal. And then we'll go on to my front three. Pretty template. I've gone Martinez tonight for Inter. It was between him and Harry Kane, and I had to go. This was so tough because obviously I love Harry Kane, but I think Martinez with the fixture against Pilsen, them losing 5-1 in their first game to Barca, had to be Martinez for me. And then I've gone Mbappe, who's playing in Israel. So it's a tough trip for PSG, but I think with his 2 goals last week, he had to be in there. And then Haaland against his old club, Dortmund, couldn't really not put him in that one. So what do you think on that front three, Q? Obviously, it's pretty template. Captain's armband's also on Martinez, and that can easily be rotated to Haaland and Mbappe tomorrow. So, what do you think on that front three? Is there anyone you change? Do you think maybe I should bring my man Harry Kane in, or maybe not?
Well, I'd nearly be tempted to go the Haaland, Mbappe, and Harry Kane up front, and then obviously you've got your players on the bench that you could interchange in. But also with your template, you want to maybe throw a sort of a bit of an option there that not a lot of people are going to have, and I think Martinez is that person. And you might not have Martinez every week, but on a Limitless this week against the good opposition, he looks really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because obviously most weeks you'd have Haaland, Mbappe, Benzema when he's obviously fit, but there's no Benzema. So you kind of think, who else can I throw in there? And I do really like Kane, but Kane's probably going to come in on a wild card for match week 3 and 4 when Spurs have the Frankfurt games. And I think this Inter game, Inter, they've been a bit hit and miss this season, but again, it's a fixture you think they'll come out and get their first 3 points of the campaign after losing to Bayern last week. So yeah, Martinez, captain's armband. If he grabs a couple of goals or even a goal with some bonus, obviously I then have a decision to make about, do I want to change it on the second night between Haaland and Mbappe? But that's my lineup, 3-4-3. I'll move on to my bench now. If you are joining in the stream, if you can just get your comments in, let me know what you think of my Limitless. And let me know if you think I should change anyone as well. We'll go to my bench. So I've got Donnarumma from PSG as a switch for Paul Lopez if Lopez doesn't keep a clean sheet. I've got João Cancelo from Dortmund. Again, another switch, for a defender. Reece James. Again, it might surprise people because Chelsea haven't been on the best form. It's Graham Potter's first game. But I think with Salzburg at home, Chelsea have had a rest over the weekend. Reece James has had a rest, and he's normally fighting pretty fit and looks, normally plays a lot better when he is, nice and rested. So I think this is a good fixture for him. So they can both come in for my defense. If I do not, obviously, if I don't get clean sheets from my defenders, also they can come in for the likes of, even a Salah or a Martinez. And I could change the formation on the second day. And then I've got Kevin De Bruyne in there because I did need that extra City player, and I did predict a 4-2 win for Man City, which probably surprises people, me having João Cancelo. But João Cancelo can score, he can assist. There's so much more he can do other than just a clean sheet. So I think there'll be goals in that. So I will potentially end with a triple City in my lineup. But what do you think on that bench queue? Again, is there anyone in this squad or on this team and you look at it and you think, yeah, I've missed a trick? There's players I've missed. What do you think?
No, I think you've covered it well, especially if your bench. You got the double City, and then you got Reece James, who we all know from FPL. Reece James can, be that 1 point player, or he can be that 20-point player. He's that explosive that if you've got the opportunity, say if a couple of your defenders don't hit tomorrow, you've got Reece James that you can bring on, and there's a bit of upside there. So I like it, mate. I think there's a lot of flexibility there, just in case players don't hit on the first night.
Good to hear. And I think, with Reece James, I remember last year Chelsea played Juventus. It might have been match week 2 or match week 3. It was one of the first 3 match weeks. I can't remember now, actually. And but he got a crazy score. He got a clean sheet, recoveries. He scored. Chelsea absolutely battered Juve that night. And Reece James was phenomenal. And I think with Potter coming in, okay, he's only been there a few days, but I think it'll give Chelsea a bit of a lift. You get a bit of a new manager bounce, and I think it's a good fixture. And I wanted to have some Chelsea coverage. Obviously, no Bayern Munich, no Barca. I think that's going to be a brilliant game. But I just thought I'd try something different this week. And I've gone really gone for it with my attack. But I've also tried to put a few differentials in there with Shavid from Shakhtar, the likes of Klaus from Marseille, Paul Lopez. Potentially Martinez, although I do think his ownership will go up on Limitless chips this week. And then I think Reece James is probably a little bit of a different pick for this week. So that's my team. If you're not tuning in live and you are watching this later on before deadline, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Rate the team out of 10. And let me know if you think I've made a mistake with any of these players. So that's my team, Q. So let's leave my team for now, and I will stop sharing my screen. And then Q, you want to share screen and reveal your team?
Yep, no, definitely. I'll just get it up now.
So Quentin is on he's on a Limitless chip as well. So here he is. So we've got Q's team.
So is that up there now?
Yeah, there it is. We can see it. All right, so talk us through your. So you've gone a 3-4-3 as well. Talk us through your keeper and your defense, because your keeper and then one of your defenders is obviously different to mine. And actually, looking at that, I've not even done anyone from Atletico Madrid this week in that Leverkusen game, which could be quite dangerous for me. I've backed Marseille over the tried and trusted of Atletico Madrid. So that is a bit scary. But do you want to talk through your defense and keeper?
No, definitely. So as you mentioned earlier about doubling up in the defense, I've decided to do the double up in defense for Inter Milan, but go a goalkeeper and defensive asset there, and I've got Couture on the bench, so if it doesn't go to plan, I can switch him out for the second day fixtures. But I think that there's a lot of upside there, like you've spoken about. Inter, there's a good chance that they could make a bit of a statement and get a decent win, and I can see them probably keeping a clean sheet. So I'm trying to go for maybe a little bit of upside day one, and hopefully it works out. But worst case scenario, I've got the subs on the bench there to come on. But Perisic, similar to Reece James, he can definitely bang out a double-digit score. So I'm sort of banking on Spurs to keep up their defense, because they have a decent defense, even though they do concede every now and again. But I think they're going to keep it pretty tight against Sporting, and Sporting just haven't looked like the Sporting we've seen in previous seasons. So I think Spurs are going to be really good defensively, and worst case scenario, I can bring on one of my bench players if I sort of don't get the desired results. And then obviously gone Reynaldo. He looked absolutely amazing last week, and I think there's
unlucky
a lot
not
of
to get a
upside.
clean sheet as well.
Yeah, see, it was a bit disappointing because I was watching other games when I was looking at the live score ticker, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get a clean sheet, and I was looking good, and then they conceded very late in that game, which was disappointing. But he looked really good in attack, created a few chances, and with that clean sheet, it would have been awesome. But yeah, I'm backing him again for a second week, hoping that they do keep the clean sheet, and he does get some decent ball recoveries and maybe an attack and return as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good defense. And I think with Perisic, he's just got like Champions League all over him. I think he's such a typical Champions League player. I think you can just feel safe having him in your team. Obviously, Dumfries, I've had him in my Limitless as well. Perisic in my Limitless. Don't have Reynaldo, but I had him in my normal team last week. And Onana is an interesting one. You've obviously doubled up with that into defense, so you're obviously quite confident of a clean sheet. So yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking the back three. I'm liking the keeper. Obviously, the differences between mine is Reynaldo and Onana. But yeah, good side. So let's talk us through your midfield and let us know about that captain's armband as well, Q.
We might start with that then. We'll get the elephant in the room done first. So Mo Salah, I've spoken throughout this FPL season. I still think that the opportunity's there for Salah. He just hasn't, getting the end result, getting the points, which is, the main thing when we're talking about fantasy sports. But, he's looked really good in a bad way as well. He hasn't looked his best, but he's still creating chances. And I think, as I said just before that, I think this is going to be a bit of a statement game for him. I think he's going to, get a decent return this week. And I think, there's upside as a captaincy shout for the day one fixtures with, you've got Haaland and you've got KDB sort of in that second lot of fixtures. So, I feel like a bit safer that way. I can sort of, throw it on Salah. And if he does, do what he's done in previous seasons, I won't need to worry about it. But, I feel a bit confident knowing that, I can switch to De Bruyne or I can switch to Haaland sort of after, day one. But moving on to Sterling, probably part of the Sterling fan club lately. I sort of had him in my week one side as well, but didn't do too much. But I think that there's going to be a bit of an attitude change this week for Chelsea. You've got the new manager in, and I think there's going to be a couple of plays that are going to try and make statements. And, I think Sterling's going to be one of those plays that, is going to show the new manager that, he deserves to play every week, regardless of whether it's, midweek fixtures as well as weekend fixtures. So I think, a bit of a statement win, I think, for Chelsea after losing week one in a game that they probably should have won that. But what are your thoughts on Sterling, mate, before I head on to the other two?
Yes, Sterling, like looking at Sterling now, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, should I have him in? The Salzburg fixture on the second day, it looks good. It's exciting. Fresh with Graham Potter coming in, point to prove, maybe want to bounce back. I've obviously gone Shavid from Shakhtar. And looking at it, you'd normally say, oh, you'd want to pick a Chelsea player over a Shakhtar player, but I'm just being enticed by Shakhtar's 4 goals last week and Celtic. Playing away, could be tough for them, but I'm liking the Sterling pick. I've revealed my team before. I'm not going to change my team after the stream. The team I've done is going to be the team I've done. It obviously come back to bite me when I did change it after one of the streams the other week. I won't be doing that. But looking at this, I like Sterling. I think it's a great pick on a Limitless. This is why Limitless is so powerful, because you can have all of these premium players. And just going back to the Salah pick, that's the one thing I'm looking at, thinking, oh, the captain's armband does look good on Salah at Anfield, under the lights. Ajax, open game, midfielder points. Maybe before the end of the stream, I might have to bring my team up and change the armband. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see how I feel, but I'm liking those two, Q. But yeah, take us through the other two picks, because you've still got someone from that Liverpool game in your midfield there. But obviously it's not a Liverpool player. So yeah, talk us through your last two midfielders.
Just a side note, mate. I think what a better way to pay respect to the Queen by just netting a hat trick at Anfield, mate. So
it's true.
We got Vinicius there, so don't really need to spend too much on him. I think he's just the best option at Real Madrid, especially with Benzema out. He's a decent option when Benzema is playing, but just highlights him even more when he's not playing up front. We get to.
Have you thought about Hazard, by the way, Eden Hazard at all? I know, he's not shown any form for couple of years at Madrid, but he did get a good haul against Celtic last week, and he scored on the weekend as well. And he's replacing Benzema. Has Hazard even sort of come into your thoughts as a pick for this week, or you're just completely set on Vinicius, or even this man Paul Pogba? Steve McDonald asked if Q was not tempted by Pogba. He is actually injured. Oh, here we go. There's a good comment actually that's just come in. Hazard will not be playing. So there you go. Right. I'm assuming. Let us know. Did he get injured? Did he? Or is he suspended? Maybe.
No, he didn't cross my mind actually, but he did actually look really good. He's back to his fighting weight now, so he looked quite athletic and very. His touch was there as previous seasons where he just hasn't looked like that Hazard that sort of lit the Premier League on fire when he was playing. So.
So Vinicius, I think, then is definitely the safe pick from Madrid. No Benzema, obviously Hazard can't play. And he makes Madrid tick anyway. And I'm not sure what the latest is with Rodrigo from Real Madrid as well. I'd heard there might have been some problems with his fitness, but I'm liking the Vinicius pick. But you've got Bergwijn in there, so talk us through Bergwijn on your Limitless.
I had him in last week, and I liked what I saw. He probably didn't get the FPL return that I was hoping in, a game where they scored a lot of goals, but he looked really good still. And I think that he's still the best option sort of in that midfield area for Ajax. I think that, he's shown, the start of the season, he's just been on fire in the Dutch league. So, I'm backing Liverpool to still win and, score a lot of goals, but I actually think they're going to concede a few goals as well. And I think this man's going to be at the center of everything that happens. And, I can see him getting a goal and an assist possibly this week against, what has been a pretty weak Liverpool defense and looks, quite horrid at times. So I think, there's definitely upside there.
Yeah, I think so as well with Bergwijn. I remember a couple of years ago at Anfield, he went 1-1 with a keeper for Spurs and he hit the post. And that would have put us, I think, 2-1 up on the night. And we would have remained top of the league quite early on in the season. And I feel like that miss is still haunting him to this day. And he will want to go to Anfield and score. And a lot of people have forgotten about Ajax players because of this fixture. But like you mentioned, Liverpool's defence has not been at its best this season. So it could be an interesting one. I just want to quickly go back to this comment from Big Balls Fantasy UCL podcast. He said, Carlo Ancelotti said Rodrigo, Vinny, and Valverde will be the front three. He doesn't really like Hazard as a false nine, and Rodrigo is preferred. So good to know. It's good for us to know, especially because we've both got Vinicius Jr. in our Limitless. And Steve McDonald was just coming and said, home advantage counts a lot in the Champions League, and Salah plus Sterling at home offers a lot of value. 100% agree. The Anfield factor will always remain huge in the Champions League, regardless of Liverpool's form. I remember when they won the Champions League, obviously it was 2005. They were still scoring goals at home in the group stages, with the likes of Neil Mellor up front. And, they had Jimmy Traore and, Jamie Carragher in the team. And, they still ended up winning the Champions League. Carragher was obviously a top centre back. I'm only joking on that one. But very good midfield there, Q. Do you want to talk us through your front three? It looks very template with two of them, but then with Neymar, Not seen him in too many limitlesses, to be honest. I've seen obviously the Mbappe, Haaland, Martinez, or the Mbappe, Haaland, Kane, and I've not seen so many Neymar. So do you want to talk us through your Neymar choice? And I know he's been on form this season for PSG. So has that had something to do with it as well?
Yeah, just looking at their game last week, and then even on the weekend, he got off the mark in the league as well. But last week, a lot of the people are pointing towards Mbappe. You got the massive point return, but I'm not much of a stats guy, but I sort of just wanted to have a look because from what I saw, like Neymar just looked involved in everything. But looking at the stats, he got an assist, but he also had 4 chances created, 1 big chance created, had 4 shots for 50%. Accuracy rate as well, and then also had 98 touches, which was more touches than anyone in that sort of front half of the field for PSG. So okay. I think that he's on the ball a lot, and I think their attack could be explosive. And I know there is sort of that factor that they're going to play in Israel, but
does he take pens?
Yeah, so I think he'll be.
Or is that up to Mbappe to decide?
I reckon it'll be rock, paper, scissors in the goal box, possibly. But yeah, I just think that I like players that have a lot of opportunity to return on points. And I think Neymar's going to be on the ball a lot. He's going to be creating a lot. And I think, he's going to get into some good positions. And with Mbappe, he's just an absolute machine. So I could see him playing a ball through for Neymar. And, I think Neymar could score a few goals this week. And like we've seen for other sides, that if they have 2 good attacking options, some week it's one person and the next week it's another person. So I think it's Neymar's turn this week.
That's a good point. And I think as well, another thing in this UCL fantasy that's different is if Neymar does win a penalty and scores the pen, he'll still get points for winning the penalty and scoring the penalty, which in FPL you would only get the goal scoring points if he takes the penalty and wins the penalty. You also get points for scoring from outside the box. So the likes of Neymar love to score wonder goals. So you get an extra couple of points or maybe a point or so for scoring from outside the box as well, which is a really, really good feature. I will quickly ask as well, though, Q, because you have got Mbappe and Neymar. What about Lionel Messi?
Yeah, I think there's more of a minutes risk for him. They seem to be managing him a bit, sort of taking him off. But then again, I guess Neymar on the weekend, he was taken off a little bit early as well. But yeah, I'm just sort of backing. I think there's a more opportunity for them to sort of fire if they do get the 70 minutes, 60 minutes, then I guess a Messi over the 60 minutes. But, it could be proven to be a fool and Messi gets a hat-trick and Neymar does nothing.
It is quite sad to see a Champions League where, Messi's, not even someone that we've even spoke about until now, and Cristiano Ronaldo isn't even in the comp this year. And it's, it just shows you that, football is now slowly beginning to move on from those 2 absolutely phenomenal footballers. Let's go to your last man. You've got a robot up front, Mr. Haaland, Man City against Dortmund. Was it ever in doubt that you weren't going to put him in, or have you maybe considered not having him in this week?
Nah, definitely learn from my mistakes from FPL, mate. And I've just got him in, As we said, it's valuable to have a player that doesn't feel emotion because he's not even human. So, yeah, without a doubt, Haaland was going to be in there. I probably would have had him in over KDB, but because I'm making it rain this week with my Limitless, I can have both. So,
good stuff. So Q's gone a 3-4-3. He's loaded with his PSG strikers. Bit different with Bergwijn, a bit different with Sterling, and then Nana and Dumfries as an Inter double up. Let's go to your bench. So your number 2, who you can bring on if Inter don't keep the clean sheet, is Thibaut Courtois. No, it's actually quite a good pick. I said I'm not going to change my team. I'm sticking with Donnarumma as my number 2, but good pick there. And then you've got Kevin De Bruyne, Reece James. You've gone with him as well. Obviously, I've gone with Reece James. Well, I've gone with João Cancelo, Reece James, and De Bruyne. So the bench is the same as mine, with the exception of Courtois. So talk us through your bench.
No, definitely. I changed it as we started this pod when you were talking about your side and talking about Reece James. It kind of just made me think, who do I want on the bench? I want someone with a lot of upside. So if the likes of my Reynaldo or Perisic or Dumfries, if any of them sort of don't perform, I want the highest upside for that second day. And I thought Reece James, Cancelo, both, shown in FPL that they, massive upside. So I'm sort of thinking that, if I don't get the points that I'd like, if I only get sort of like a 3 point, I can chuck Reece James on it. It can be anywhere from 1 point to 15 points. So
I like that, and I think your squad looks pretty balanced. I like the 3-4-3, strong bench. So if you don't get the clean sheet from Onana, Courtois can come straight in. De Bruyne can come in for potentially if Bergwijn doesn't do anything, and then Reece James can easily come in for Ronaldo. If he doesn't get the clean sheet, João Cancelo can come in for either Dumfries or even Salah if Salah doesn't perform, and then you got the flexibility to bring in Neymar or Mbappe as your captain on day 2. Just want to quickly say hello to FPL Penguin. Welcome to the stream. Thanks. Good luck to yourself as well. I did watch your stream. I saw your team reveal. Very strong. And I did get some inspiration from your team as well. I remember seeing one of the comments where I think someone said on your stream that maybe you had too many players on match night 1 or 2, maybe match night 2, but I don't think that's the worst thing, because if there's a bunch of bad results on the first night, then you got plenty of players to play on the second night. So I definitely took some inspiration from your side with some of my picks. But that's our teams. That's Q's. That's mine. I'll do one last quick share screen of mine just for a couple of new viewers that may have just quickly come in. Here is my team. For those that missed it, captain's armband is on Martinez. I'm not going to change it, even though I've seen Q's team. I am just going to keep the team that I spoke about earlier. And let's see how we go. Q, let's have a quick prediction. How many points do you think you're going to get?
I reckon this could be a week that, like Salah makes a statement. So I'm thinking 100 plus this week, mate. I think last week wasn't too bad. I think it was similar to your score in the 70s, but I think this week with the players there, I think there's a lot of opportunity there for points. And I think, 100 plus would be, a nice sort of finish.
Yeah, you know what? I think you can do it. Obviously, if Salah bangs, you're in a great position. Midfielder points, man the match points potentially when midfielders score. For me, I think I'm going to say maybe if we get another goal scoring around similar to last week, I'll go with maybe 90 to 95 points. Captain is on a striker, so I will need at least a double from one of my strikers. And obviously the captain's armband tonight is on Martinez. If he doesn't do well, it will go straight onto either Mbappe or Haaland. I am tempted to do Salah now, but I'll let that be your captain pick for this game week, Q.
No, mate,
that can be yours.
Up until you get it, mate, just convincing you.
You are now. I can't change it now. Now we're done the stream. I've got to keep it. We did have one last comment. We'll bring it up. Hold on, I'll bring it up again. Disappointed there were no United players in Q's team. A nice little jab from a Man City fan to a Manchester United fan. I'm obviously a Spurs fan, so I'm happy because we're in the Champions League. So we'll see how we go in the morning.
I might say one comment. It was good to see City's game get put on this weekend because they've only got 20 fans, so there's not going to be any issues with crowd control. So
Q fights back to the Man City fans. But I'm sure Steve does not mind as City will be playing Dortmund on Wednesday night and not playing on Thursday nights. But we'll leave the stream there. Thanks for those that did tune in live tonight. Come into the comments. Really appreciate it. It was great to have the interactions. Obviously, if you didn't watch last night's pod, I do have a podcast from last night, which I went through all of the players from each game. So there was a player from each match. I also went through my differentials, so you can see that on my channel. So that's last night's pod. Then obviously this one was just a limitless reveal from myself. So you can rewind to the start. You'll see my limitless reveal, and then you can see Q's straight after he did his. Both got different captains. Both got some similarities but different squads as well. If you are watching this on the pre-record, or you are watching live now and you haven't done it, if you can just give the video a like, get your comments in and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done. You can follow me, FPLMattDay, on all of the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Quentin is FPL Amateurs of Oz. He's on Instagram, he's on Twitter. He's also got a website with plenty of fantasy football content on there. So we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Good luck for match week 2 in the UEFA Champions League Fantasy. And good luck if you're on a Limitless as well. And I'll be back at the end of the week with some fancy Premier League content before the deadline. So we will see you in the next one.